he pretty much plays that on every single map other than Split. So for him to now be playing the Jet, like, if Crazy Raccoon managed to predict this going into the game, I'll be blown away. But hey, we'll see how they're actually going to be able to cope with it. Already, we're going to see that brawl for A control, something I think Mitch will probably be seeing all the way through the match.
Yeah, 100%, especially when you've got the Astra coming in on both teams. You love to take that A control in the early round, use the black hole to just pull them off the angle on the attack side, and you have got yourself a long control the majority of the time, or a really difficult contest. But when you've got a Jet on the other side, they can still afford to go through it, look for those aggressive peaks, and then pull back with the dash afterwards. So there's a little bit of counterplay straight away in the agent selection, and we'll look forward to seeing those duels come down a little bit later on into the map. But for now, with a minute left, it's a heavy stack towards the A side from Crazy Raccoons, and as they don't see anybody after a couple of seconds, they have to start rotating around and presuming this is maybe a C hit. So biding their time here, X10 are about to find a much easier site to push into, and with Zephyr falling, the A side is theirs. What's Mud? He's just running out. He's going for it with the Phoenix. I love it. And it's working out for 2 kills. Oh no, this looked like it was going to be clean, but we end up in a 2v3.
There's some real possibility for them to turn the tide here. So they do look to get themselves the plant. Rion, however, incredibly low, but Neth with a cheeky peek. He's always been known for those clutch situations. Vulnerability placed as well onto Foxes, meaning a little bit easier to kill, but it doesn't last for long. They're trying to bait him in with a plant, and actually it has worked. Rion's just swung on it. 10 seconds left for Sushi Boys to try and bring this back. His turret's even got him a kill, and now it comes down to the 1v1, the jump over the top, and it's the turret again. What? A double kill with a turret and a pistol round? This is ridiculous.
A 1v2, he didn't even shoot a shot, and he's won it. What have we just witnessed? I was so confused when it came up clutch. It was like, what, the UI's having a heart attack? But no, it's the turret taking the kills. They are not going to live that one down. Oh man, that hurts. Look, the jump out of heaven, he was so low, and it's just so easy.
He doesn't even react.
He's like, what? Did I win?
Me?
That's gorgeous. What a way to lose the pistol, man.
What a way to kick off our first game as well. I've never seen anything like that before. Well, I'm so ready for this already. X10, they've got themselves the victory in the pistol. Now, we're seeing this deep wall thrown down to almost deny space, but they're still going to try and get aggressive around it. Munchkin peeking through, and the rest of the team, because of this, have already rotated in. They're going to have a pretty decent stack coming into the C site, and Neth, he does at least slow them down a little bit. It is worth mentioning, of course, Mitch, not much into this round.
Yeah, of course, right. They're saving up money for the next. We're not expecting this to be Crazy Raccoons coming in with a hard contest in round 2, so it's fine that they're getting kind of rolled over. They've got 1 kill. Now, if Munchkin can find a little bit more, it'll serve him in a number of ways. Build up towards the ult, and of course, take away a weapon from his opponent's damage. Done. Quite a lot of it indeed. Pros left on 51, but here comes the cavalry in to support this fight, and it's easy for Scary taking a triple kill on that one. 2-0 for X10. And, you know, Scary's a guy I've got a lot of pressure on in my head, because this guy was fantastic looking at him within his region, and now I want to see him on the international stage really deliver. And I do think that yesterday, alongside Patafan, he was actually well, Patafan got a lot of praise, whereas I feel like Scary kind of flew under the radar a little bit, but he was playing a great series on the Viper, which is why it was very surprising to me to see Patafan pull it out here and Fox to take the Jet. It's such a weird mix-up.
Yeah. It is a weird one. Might be down to positioning, might just be down to Fox feeling a little bit more comfortable on the map. Also, I think because of all the changes we've seen on the other side, we haven't mentioned that Munchkin's actually switched up to the Phoenix, normally putting in more of a Sky, but I guess this gives him ability to, I guess, flash for himself a little bit more. He was a bit of a battle Sky anyway, so I guess it somewhat makes sense. We're going to see a fast push here, straight into B.
Oh, yes, we are. Fox, though, oh, he's vulnerable, and Munchkin's taking advantage, popping his head straight away. Medusa in through the smoke for another. Crazy Raccoons are not letting go of this B side. The crossfires are strong, but Scary, even with the Spectre's able to get a double. Patafan in with another, and we're tied up. This is a bonus round for X10, and they're making it look very, very good. Patafan caught in the corner. They know that he's here. They've tagged him up. They're reconning him, and this round is over and done with. All All things considered, though, as a bonus round for X10, a plant and 3 kills, this was a successful round that they very nearly got away with a win in.
Yeah, for sure. This is now a position where financially things are definitely going to be a little bit more awkward. Lamar just picking them apart right towards the end. Of course, that is the investment into all of the rifles, and I imagine we're going to see a response now from X10 as well. I do appreciate those faster paced rounds, though. I think that's something that X10 do exceptionally well, and normally it is Padifan leading the charge in those sort of spots, but for now at least, we are going to see the investment back in. Now, Rion's got the Judge, and I'll be honest with you, Mitch, I hate that gun.
We see the Recon actually be completely denied at the very start of this round with the Cloudburst. I love that counter to stop any sort of map control from going into the hands of Crazy Raccoons. Now they can't afford to have a solo player holding the A side. And in the pistol round, we saw that information denied with a Viper Wall. This time the Viper Wall's on C for late round info denial. They use like 1 Cloudburst. It's all it takes. And now both guys on A are like, but we have to stay here. They try to force the fight on short as well, making sure that if they try to counter by like pushing up short to get info, boom, 2v1 fight. This is really well structured in the early round from X10, and this is what I've been complimenting them on, that I love the fact that you can see it's very well thought through in terms of their game plan.
Oh, they're gonna get pressured though. Scary, the one to fall. A lot of the utility disappears with him. They have in turn used the Viper's Pit onto B, and with no challenge there, they're actually just gonna have an after plant. Of course, it's going to be made that little bit tougher by the fact that they have lost their utility man, and Munchkin is already going to be finding a trade. Neff with another. That is actually Panipan gone, so as well as his utility will fall. And now it's left all onto Foxes, and he doesn't spot the flank of Rio coming in with that disgusting shotgun.
I love it as well. Such a fitting way to end the round, Tom. You started by talking about it, and we finished by talking about it as well, as it gets that free upgrade as well, you know? And that sort of discount. So the Judge is a powerful weapon, obviously, but it's also a cheap one. And so when you lose 2 players, but you manage to save one of their weapons, it actually ends up that you've really only lost 1.5 at most with the armor reinvestment. So it's a great weapon to have that little bit of bonus econ to play throughout the game with. And obviously, for holding inside a garage, for example, it's almost a better weapon than the Phantom at times. You can do a whole lot with it. I also love the skins in the UI, man. It's really nice.
That's the bit you're happy about.
That's number one.
I like all the utility changes. That's the big one for me on the map. The fact that now when you see stars placed, when you get these Astra versus Astra, you're not just putting your hands on your head and almost crying for mercy to try and work out whose is whose. But again, we're going to see all this clearing utility. There's something I've always liked from the Sky, the ability to try and spot all those early angles. Zephyr, though, is quite happy to just chill here. He's got his knives popped, the right click, almost going to insta-kill anyone that passes. And again, early presence into A is something that we're going to see throughout the whole match. Both teams wanting to try and garner this full control.
Yeah, and because Crazy Raccoons haven't really pressured it, X10 want to go up and take that free space, but they run right into a player. Now the Seekers reveal a player on the right, and Zephyr somehow gets away with a kill despite the whiff, but the trade is back immediately, and we end up in a 3v3. Rotations already have come in towards this A side, and X10 know it. They don't rotate because they can't. Scary's stuck in a corner with a spike, but they will slow the pace. They'll make Crazy Raccoons concerned that perhaps this is a play towards the C side, perhaps this is a rotation, and when they push the site, there will only be one player who can contest them, especially with the Cosmic Divide and the Viper Wall. It's Munchkin in the corner, and he is dealt with right away. Now the plant is pretty much theirs, especially with Lockdown coming into play from the defenders.
He's trapped him!
And I think he's going to be stuck by it. That's beautiful. The suck coming in to completely keep them in position, but they can't afford. There's 2 players who aren't detained. They can't just run forward and look for these duels, and instead, utility's just buying so much time. Now all of the ultimate is just negated, and it's a 1 versus 3 that is, well, virtually unwinnable for Neth. Really well recovered by X10 to start that out.
I love those sort of slowdowns in the middle of the round. I think the main criticism I had for them yesterday, they were excellent at finding opening picks, early round picks, especially when we looked at Icebox. They were going up versus Vikings quite regularly, but their mid rounds almost seemed panicked and rushed. There would be re-aggression. There would be mistakes that were made that would give Vikings a way back into the round. This was anything but that. It was clinical. They made sure that they had everything set up. They cleared the site before everything was done, got the afterplant, and okay, sure, it was a nice counter with the gravity well to keep one player retained. But after that, they managed to close out the round quite comfortably.
If that was a 2v2, that gravity well probably won them the round. But because there's just those extra players, you can't afford to just W key down and hope you get the kill, because there's probably going to be one guy with him. There wasn't, but there probably is. And you would just be throwing away your chances. And the way things go. I have to say, 3-2, we're getting a very competitive game. There's a lot of good signs here, especially from X10. Like, I'm loving their attack side so far. It's so clean. A lot of things going their way. Munchkin delivering on that Phoenix. The expectations that we've set in the earlier stages are really delivering in the tight game of Haven. But I feel like one of the teams is about to get a little bit of an advantage coming into the next buy round. For now, of course, it's just pistols in the hands of Crazy Raccoons. But they have got a lot of players towards A, Tom.
They've gone for the lockdown, in fact. Clearly wanting to try and build as much economy in this round as they can, and while clearing everybody off the site quite easily. It was more just the aggressive plays of Crazy Raccoons trying to do as much damage as they can. Again, you can't really expect too much from rounds like this. All they can really hope for, maybe a kill or two, maybe an ult or burned. That would be nice, but chances are they're going to get away with nothing.
Yeah, we saw some early impact before from these pistols, but this time around it's not really going to go their way, and it's fine. You brush these rounds off, but at the end of the day, this means X10 have built up quite a bit of credits now. And coming into this buy round, it's very important for Crazy Raccoons to get on the board and do it relatively convincingly, because yeah, as we see, that was a Prime Gaming flawless round from X10.
Yeah, the best you can get. I think for them especially, after what was some, as said, shakier rounds that ended up slipping away from them in the previous series that could have really made the difference of even just taking a map off one of the teams that we expect to be like a challenger for the title. Now, though, it's going to be a little bit more aggressive. We haven't seen too much from Munchkin just yet. The run it back, I think, is going to be a huge part of his play when he's able to get it in check. We're seeing all of this deep utility thrown. Like, this is being conquered quite regularly now by X10, and I almost want to see just Munchkin let off the leash, maybe set up a little bit more to try and find some of those openers, because we know he has the ability. We've seen it already over the last couple of days.
That's a lot of utility, man. A lot of utility. Used the double snake bite to clear the right corner. I mean, they must have been so sure that there was not only a player, but not a jet, you know, in that corner. And they're still clearing it. Like, you can just put down a guiding light, right? Put it in the corner there if it doesn't see anyone, you're clear. I like the dash. I like the play. Fox, he is here today. Crows coming in with more. The flash is so good, but it only gets Munchkin one. And with that, Crazy Raccoons around that they needed to win. They're now left into a situation where they have to save. We mentioned the economy is fantastic for X10, and losing one player here will make no difference to it. But for the defenders, these weapons are definitely going to be appreciated coming into the next round by.
Yeah, it has to be said as well, like, over the last couple of rounds at least, I feel like Crazy Raccoon have actually had a decent read. Like, they've been stacking up on this A side. They've had, I think there's 3 players there ready for the push to come in, and they get 1 kill. Like, now I'm starting to question, like, okay, do you even have the correct setups? Because that was fairly basic from X10 on the take. Like, you have to dash through, the flash popped, and after that, it just seemed like they wiped down everybody who was remaining. So maybe a little bit of an adaptation need. That said, I'd quite like to see them take a little bit of map control, because for now, we're seeing these very, very passive holds, and especially with the composition that they currently have with these aggressive agents, with this Phoenix, with this Jet, I just don't think it's going to work out for them. And sure, they were a little bit more aggressive on the other side of the map with the Jet peeking out, but at this point, it needs to be more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you're losing that much map control in the early rounds, as we've seen almost consistently now, and we've seen the adaptation, because Crazy Raccoons wanted to play, okay, pistol round, you know that you're going to be up against Gravity well and long, more than likely, but they have the Jet there to try and still contest for that control. Then they adapt to a more passive A play. That doesn't work out. And this time, even more so. It's the C site where they want to get that kind of early information, and they're playing back on side on A. Doesn't work out either. We need some serious adaptation coming out from Crazy Raccoons. But it's also difficult because you look at what X10 just did. They double snake bit, I guess. Snake bited wouldn't be the right way. The right corner. Like, that's... You can't do anything unless it's your jet there. You're pretty much dead. You're vulnerable. You're losing HP. If you stay there, you run out, they're going to kill you. So actually contesting for that control, especially when there's an Astra there, imagine they double snake bite and then they gravity well on your exit. There's no way out. You're dead. So they'd have to assign their jet there. And that's just to maintain control for even a second. And then you probably have to dash out and concede it anyways. So there's definitely something that needs to be done about that, because right now X10, they just feel in themselves like, oh, this is free, let's keep on taking it. And even if they want to finish on the C site, you see what it does to the defenders' rotations, where they've constantly had 3 players on A in the early stages of the round because of that absolute absence of info.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see them attempt some of the like cool different Astra combos we've seen with the gravity wells. Like I know they've got themselves the Sova on the other side. We've seen some shot dart combos. We've also seen quite regularly Molotov combos coming out from the hot hands on Phoenix, just to try and deny some of that early space, not allow them to go all the way in and like throw down that utility, pop out the snake bites, like just deny them even from getting the lobby control. I think that's something, if you watch, for example, version 1, they're exceptionally good at using the Viper. So we'll see what the change is going to be. They've actually placed the operator down there in the early stages of the round. So instead of having all these different setups, it's just going to be Zephyr go kill. But unfortunately for them, you have the time to talk things through. So do X10. They're going straight back to this mid take once more.
Yeah. Lock it, load it. Time to go on in. And okay. We've seen the 3-man start on A site. 1 player in Garage, 1 player C. So there's all that Killjoy utility to stop a B push. Instead, they're going to redirect themselves. Moving into C. This is where you've got to show up with that Sheriff, and, well, it ain't going too well. Rion and Neth straight out of this one, and the ranged fights, they are so heavily in favor of X10. The operator tries to bridge the gap, but with a missed shot, it might be time to bail out of there, especially because Zephyr doesn't have the dash. Maybe he tries to go for a peek on site and dash out of there, but when he doesn't have the dash in play, he's back to spawn. He's running away from there because you cannot afford to lose that weapon. Even if you got 3 kills at the state of the X10 economy right now, that would not be a good trade if you're Zephyr. So saving this weapon, #1 priority, while Munchkin, he tries his best.
I think the man could get 10 kills, and I don't think I would save him if he lost the operator. It really is a huge financial burden, and there's no way he gets out of it. Perfect positioning from Sushi Boys, and that's 6-2 now for X10. Now, of course, this is their map choice, but going into the next one, like, we know that they're actually pretty comfortable playing Icebox at the moment, and I don't know. I'm not feeling too good for Crazy Raccoon right now. As said, still early. I think going onto that attacking side as well could make a fairly big difference, like when you do have the ability of Jet and Phoenix to get you those openers. But there's a hell of a lot of utility on the other side that is going to be used to deny them and make things very, very awkward, choke them out of a lot of these rounds. Again, though, it seems like they're going to try and rely on Zephyr to do a slightly better job of challenging for this A control, but it's very patient once again, Mitch, from the default coming out from X10.
Yeah, it is. And this is the thing, we've seen them go for the more aggressive A plays like a number of times, almost in a row. And now they're going back to this Viper wall down, but we talked about the counter to this potentially being that push down short, and Zephyr has been uncontested on this for now at least. He destroys the Trailblazer, realizes it's time to run away because he was likely to get hit with a stun or a gravity well and challenged by 2 or 3 players. So now that control is conceded, they at least have to pay for it. They use up an Astra Star as well as a Trailblazer. It's not amazing, but it's something. It's definitely better than what we've seen in the past. Although the drone going down gets the information on 1 player, it's not really that valuable at this moment in time. Anybody could have guessed there's someone around short. The question is, are they looking to push it? And with no information on C or Garage or B, like aggressive, I mean outside of the part of the map that's theirs from the start of the round, this is going to be pretty tough to get those rotations in on time. Again, we've talked about these 3-man A stacks, but they haven't really done anything for Crazy Raccoon so far.
30 seconds left.
Push coming in. Zephyr in a good position. The dart's actually perfectly placed. They use it as a direct counter to try and hold that player back. Munchkin catches one, but Medusa just goes running in. And now Cruz has found another onto Zephyr. It started off so strong, but they just get too aggressive. Make a silly mistake, and that's going to be enough. The spike planted, one player left. Neff, as said, I think he's excellent in a lot of these clutch situations, but a 1v4 pushing back into the A site, I don't think he's that good.
They just got a free kill. They didn't even mean to kill the guy in the corner. I think it was Medusa, because the Munchkin ulted, ran at them, right? He's in the cloud burst, so they spray into it. They destroy his ult, and the next bullet headshots his teammate who was right behind him. And he had actually ran into his path, you know? And that guy's in the corner. He's sneaky. He's like, I'm going to catch them on a sideline whenever they come out from the choke point. And then his Phoenix just runs right in front of him like, hey, shoot at me, shoot at me. That's so unfortunate. And we saw in the previous round, obviously, we had the Prime Gaming Flawless. And you know why they call it that? Because it puts your economy in a prime position. Look at that. That's just sickening. Maybe he had an iota that the player was in the corner because he did adjust through the smoke. Another, like, it's just sickening for X10. And it's one of those rounds that you pull these out every now and then, but at this stage of the game, in the context of where we are right now, that pretty much says it all. This is a very deflating situation to be in if you're Crazy Raccoons.
I think it's worth noting as well that the flashbangs coming out from Cruz just seemed to be so spot on, because there were so many players that were just completely blind in that moment, had no idea where to look, where to go. He was one of the players the desk highlighted need to have a better performance, and looks like that's the case. Now, a slight adaptation here with a push down C long. It's not been something that's pressured too regularly. Of course, I think if he goes much further, he will meet one of the players from X10 once more. But that's a very good start. A weapon retrieve from Munchkin. He's a player we know. Well, he's the highlighted player again for a lot of the people on the desk. But they need something here. 7-2 down.
Yeah, no, they need something, and at the moment, at least, it started out well. And now they're coming in the form of Crows falling. Okay. It's something to play with here for Crazy Raccoons. And Zephyr, oh, nice shot to Scary. Okay, we're back in the driver's seat here, but X10 have a potential 2v1 fight. It's Medusa, who only has a Sheriff, a shock dart through to tickle them up. There's the recon, but Fox takes him down. Now the plant can come through, but Fox has taken quite a bit of damage in the meantime. The flank, oh no, was that a fake updraft? I like it. Trying to get the players to peek out on short, and Sushi Boy's able to pick up one. Fox, Vandal in hand, looks for the headshot. Munchkin able to sideswipe, and so it's all down to the 31 HP Jet player, but Munchkin deals with him. A nice round for Crazy Raccoons. Better late than never, and with only 7 rounds for their opponents, I say only, that's obviously a lot in the context of 10 rounds, especially with how they've gotten there, but they can pull it up to 5. They won't be in the worst spot coming into the next half.
No, for sure. And these are the sort of plays that we were hoping for from Munchkin as well. That was his round. An opener that gains him a rifle, which closes out the round at the end. And the flash, Badipan, try as he might, you are not going to be able to dodge that one. So being a little bit more proactive, not allowing all of this space to go in the favor of X10. And, well, hopefully, for the sake of the match, at least, this is going to be a little bit of a turning point for the defensive side. The one issue is, of course, that on the other side of things, they've had so much cash for a ridiculous amount of time that this is not going to be a problem.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what we said, right? Their economy is being put in a prime position by those Prime Gaming Flawless rounds. See what I did there, Tom? Do you like that? I like it.
You got your extra plug. Well done.
This is just revenge for all of those EU days we've had in Challengers, Tom. You've hit me with so many puns again and again. I have to try to think of ways to get back at you.
I don't know what you mean.
Somehow. Oh, no. Sushi Boys gets traded out, though. That's such a good push. I love that. Munchkin ults down to get the information, and they trade from up above. And at worst, they get free control by him just running down. If they've all left, well, at least they've got that information. gorgeous play to start it off, and now it's a 5v3. X10 on the back foot, but they're going to look to recover this with a B push and a Viper's Pit to completely cut out the A-side heavy play that we've had consistently coming through. Now as they look to re-enter into the site, they're going to have to deal with this Viper, but Patapan's all alone. Now they know exactly where he is. The spams are coming in. He's 27 HP, but he saw the barrel now coming in through the Viper's Pit. A brave play, left with just 18 HP after the decay, but luckily they come out on top. That was tight.
Yeah, a nice try from Patapan at the end. 3 kills in a round that was looking pretty much dead, but I agree. That utility or that ult combo that we saw at the very beginning, the bait and switch, the player up above, they've started to take a little bit of control back, started to fight back versus some of these players, and it's looking like Crazy Raccoon might not be out of this one just yet. I also think their utility usage as they tried to push into the site, it just seems like Rion now has started to come into his own, maybe got a little bit more comfortable with some of the utility on that Astra, just denying them that extra few seconds they need to get into the after plants with the gravity wells.
You can see that value starting to really chain together, and we said, you know, that buy round that they lost with like the spam through the cloud burst on A site, then in through the Astra smoke, it really sucks when you lose a round like that, because those sort of things are almost out of your control when some of those RNG kills come in. And in a round where you were on a full buy, a last-ditch attempt, your opponents have a load of money, they're ahead of you in the half, then you're forced onto pistols that you lose in a pretty flat manner as you kind of expect. That puts you in a really bad spot mentally when your opponents hit 7 rounds off the back of that. But Crazy Raccoons have bounced back. They're relying on their gameplay, and we've already seen in the rounds they're losing, and a great example of the counterplay that's coming in, of the fact that they're adapting to their opponents, was that recon dart that they put through into the cloudburst ready for the dash updraft. That was beautiful, and that level of adaptation is something that solidifies them as a top team within the region, but they're going to need so much more to come back into this, and it starts with this buy round. And X10 are calling a tactical pause to make sure that they put the final nail in the coffin to finish this half 8-4.
Yeah, it would definitely set them up nicely, especially as it gives them that buffer. We know that the pistol follow-up round in most cases is going to get you that 2-round net, so if we do go in at 7-5, switch sides, pistol win, Crazy Raccoon could even be in the driver's seat depending which way you look at it. So they're going to want to try and get themselves that extra bonus. Again, we're going to see the early dart. Try and give them a little bit of extra information. Fox is as well picking up the operator, but it's looking like a potential battle. They know that Zephyr has been looking to try and get aggressive in some of these early round scenarios. And for now, just seems like a bit of a stalemate. Both teams playing a little bit more patiently, a bit more cagey, you could say.
I do really enjoy the Viper wall down on A long, because you think about how this map was played so frequently. Oh, hold on. Oh, I thought we were about to get that jet v jet battle, the op versus op, but no. We've been robbed of that a lot of the time, right? These pushes have been so fast and off so much utility that the op v op duels haven't really come in. But a lot of the time in the old Haven meta, we would see like you would recon long and then you would hold it. One player holds the A site. It's free. But then we saw the Cloudburst adaptation, and now with Viper taking a better position in the meta, the wall down means that once you activate that, the guy can't hold A long. And unless you're going to contest it from short, which is very aggressive, you're losing the control at the start of the round. It's really nice. I love that spam from Neth to destroy the Seekers coming for him, and Zephyr picks up Crows. That's a great start to the round, but he's kind of isolated on the site, still with a dash to play with. That gets pulled out very early on. Cloudburst into a shorty for the close range duel, and that pays off. Oh my God, Zephyr, what a round. Not an adaptation we see all too often, and Patapan, he's left alone and shock darted to death. What a great recovery by Crazy Raccoons in this half.
Yeah, I remember being in the green room yesterday, chatting away while the match was on, and Golden Boy saying, "You've got to buff the shorty." I don't know. I think Zephyr's still got it down to a T. His positioning able to make it work, and that was what this round was basically about. Him staying alive in pretty awkward positions, because they actually put a Gravwell on him to try and hold him back from retreating out of that spot. And I'm sure Sushi Boy is not going to be too happy about that one. But a real recovery there. Like, it was looking like a really rough half, 7-2 down, a resurgence coming back in from Crazy Raccoon. And, hey, Mitch, game on.
The adaptation as well, because Long is blocked off, you have this comfort level where after that first shot is fired down into Garage, he's actually comfortable enough to not dash out of position and instead to just cross traditionally until he takes another fight, getting him that one extra op shot. Now, it didn't connect a kill, but he could take the risk and potentially put his team in an even better spot before he went to the shorty play. Overall, gorgeous round by Crazy Raccoons, and this map, it's not disappointing. The pistol round, oh my god, it's a brawl. They are just going for it, sending it down through a Long, and it looks like Zephyr's gonna have to have some heroics yet again. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the HP to make the 1v4 happen, and so 8 will go on the board for X10. The potential for a free conversion and an equalizer from Crazy Raccoons now gets a little bit more difficult to make happen.
Yeah, I think the plan there was actually for that to be a pinch, with the players coming through mid as well and catching them off guard. They just killed everyone before the pinch even got there, just destroyed them on the push. Also had the extra denial of using those snake bites, not so much for the later round retakes, but to actually just take away that space altogether, not allow them to really find anything in the early stages of the round. So solid stuff from X10. I'm surprised to say that I'm actually really enjoying Padipan on Viper, which I thought was something, considering so far we've seen him play Sage as anything but a Sage, like just using the walls to boost himself up and get aggressive, and he's normally a Jet player. To now see him completely switch up and still make it look good, you know, I think we're going to be seeing this guy for a long, long time.
Yeah, we talk about this man's skill, and it's just good to see that extra level of depth being applied to not just his agent pool, but his playstyle, because it's very different playing the Viper. Now, Crows is in danger. This guy, I mentioned on the desk, maybe didn't perform to the highest standard in the games that they had the other day. This time, well, he's not going to be risking anything. He's just pulling back to the site, allowing his teammates to rotate in, and if they were to just blitz down with their classics, well, they're welcome to. They'd run into a stack. But this is where it gets a bit more difficult, because at this stage of the round, you're not going to want to push up. You don't want to offer up, like, because you know that it's a pack mentality when they've got classics. So if you push up Garage or Long and they happen to have rotated, you're dead. But because they've stacked A, they have to play very passive now on the B and C sites, which gives a lot of space to this team of Crazy Raccoons to just push on through. And yes, they're delayed slightly by the Astra utility, but they still get onto C site with just one player defending it. That player is absolutely mowing them down, though. So not even a plant will be possible with the spike dropped in the open. And now they just clean this one up. Not even a player lost.
Another Prime Gaming flawless round coming through. I feel like that's where you're probably going to get the majority of them, though. Like those second round purchases of very, very little coming up from the side that didn't manage to win themselves the pistols. So, but good work nonetheless. Like, these are the sort of... Oh.
All right.
Are you kidding?
Okay.
He didn't even see them.
No. Just
timing shots.
That's what spray control gets you. Even he's like, yeah, come on. But, you know, 9 to 5, you get that flawless round. It's huge because now you're able to come in and play a bonus. A hard commit to a bonus. In fact, go even further than that, and they're investing up a little bit. They got so many credits. So 3 Spectres, a Vandal, and an Operator to play with. This is a pretty good buy, all things considered, and they've still got credits in the tank if they need to play, if they lose this round, for example, because it's definitely not favorable towards them, but they're putting up a really, really good chance for themselves to win a round at very low cost.
Yeah, I think as well, the added bonus of putting this Operator on a Jet, you get enough kills, maybe a sneak and orb in the next round, and you're not playing at a disadvantage anymore. Sure, maybe if you lose it, you lose the Operator, but then you have that Blade Storm instead. Now, Padipan is going to be forced off the angle, but he's got his utility to counter and start to try... Oh, I thought he was just going to push through it there. This guy is a bit of a madman at times, but okay. Just looking to try and reposition his utility, give up that control, but Crazy Raccoon, they're actually not going to play off this, and they have at least forced a player to rotate.
Oh, Sushi, come on, man. This time you can at least see them swinging out for more, and he's going to just back off. Great opening duel, and then in comes the Operator, but Fox misses the shot, receives a lot of damage. Sushi up close, able to deal a lot to Munchkin. He's now super low HP, and the Operator cleans him up from the high ground. The swing by Scary, and that's exactly why he's called that. A 2 versus 1, Rion comes to site with 10 seconds left. No info really, and now no health to play with. A flank underway. This one is done and dusted, and you see it there with Scary on a triple kill yet again. Double digits for X10.
That was a superb round from him in general. Like, even if you remove the 3 kills that he manages to get, the grab well to keep his teammate alive just before they try and push through the garage, just making all of their rotations so much more awkward. And sure, Rion got a few consolation frags, but it really doesn't matter. That was just an excellent round from Scary. Now, with the bonus victory, they get to come back in, keep that operator, and start moving towards having all of those ultimates. I think for Crazy Raccoon, unless they can have some sort of miracle thrifty round here, I do not see them coming back in this one.
Yeah, man, I really love Scary. I love watching this guy play the game. Fox knows they're going for that ult orb. I could feel the shot through the smoke, but didn't quite get it cocked back in time. And so you're going to have that Blade Storm online for Zephyr. A couple of pistols looking to just poke and prod at the defense, stop them from getting too much space. Patapan's in trouble. He's got to get out of there. You know, when you make those aggressive pushes on the Jet, hey, you can dash, but with the Viper, you don't quite have the same freedom. Munchkin caught trying to sneak up behind, the sneaky beaky play, not paying off, and Crows takes him down, but Patapan's right back into it. He's only just gotten his health back, and he's ready to put it on the line again for the team. With an A crunch, that's information early on, but still, the thing that's scaring me isn't Scary, the Blade Storm. The fact that Zephyr still has it online and now they've got the B side, he has a variety of angles that he can play that off of, and now they're going for an aggressive take. There it is, Scary taken down. C side falls, they've got massive control to play from. Now they can back off and hold the choke points as these guys come on through, but the spike is being claimed by X10, and that's a collateral by Fox, closing it with the triple. 2 bullets, 3 kills, and 11 rounds for X10.
I didn't need to do that to them. It's already a 4v3 with weaker weaponry, and then you get the collab. I'm hoping, of course, I was about to say, I'm hoping we've got the replay. I don't need to hope anymore. We brought in the big boys for this event, so yeah, not going to be missing anything for now. And well, it is looking rough. Now that was again just a pistol round, and after plant gaining at least something in terms of finances, we will come up with a purchase for Crazy Raccoon. More importantly as well, they do have the run it back available. Now there's a couple of ults still on the other side, but I feel like that's the one with the potential to have the most impact.
This is going to be so important for Crazy Raccoons, and you can see that they can feel the pressure. They're playing it so slow. Zephyr wanted that little peek, and he's lucky to get away with his life the way Fox has been playing this operator so far. Coming out for a little bit more off the Trailblazer, and here we go. The shot connects. Zephyr got away with it once, but he tempted fate too many times. But it looks like Crazy Raccoons are thinking, hey, let's just go for this A site. Let's go into that operator again. How good can Fox possibly be? But eventually they decide, maybe pretty good. Let's go elsewhere. And it's good because they've actually dragged a heavy rotation to A side, something that Crazy Raccoons were the victims of again and again. Now they find them much easier to take C.
Already pushing through. That's the running back gone. It's basically lost for destroying a turret. A trade probably not worth it. Sushi Boys as well, still just surviving in the corner. It is only going to be 1-for-1, but then the trades just come back thick and fast. It's left onto Neth once again. He's had a couple of attempts at these 1 versus 4s. I can't say I'm a believer though. Look at the flank. They're going to pincer him from him, surround him on all sides. Although Foxes does peek a little bit early. Hits a second dink, but just overwhelmed in the end. It is going to be another round on the board for X10. Just 1 away from not just taking their map, but dominating it.
Wow, this is a gorgeous display. And yeah, there's a couple of rounds. Like, I think this is, let me put it this way. I think it's a closer map than it looks like. But at the same time, it's like 8-9 rounds for Crazy Raccoons at best so far. Like, their performance has been good. Their adaptations have been there. But then there's just this like individual level that X10 have been able to clutch out a couple of rounds. Solid responses to utility play. So it's like Crazy Raccoons are adapting to X10, but X10 are so quick. You see it when they come out on stage, right? They're dancing around. They're jumping through smoke, you know? They're feeling it. And it's paying off for them, man. The fact that they are able to so quickly, they're like water, adapt to whatever situation they're put in. Well, Crazy Raccoons just can't keep up. At least not on Haven.
No, I definitely have some hopes for Icebox, but for now at least, this is looking like X10 have got their number. The Thai team
Oh,
dominating him. Foxes, he's caught a little bit there. He knows there's somebody
cave.
waiting around that corner. Just gonna keep the angle held, even elevating himself a little bit. In the meantime, the attackers again looking to try and play towards Garage, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable if they were to make that move again. They've been shut down every time by the utility of Scary, but they have at least managed to force back that aggressive operator for now.
Good response. Really good response in the corner. Not playing too risky. Oh, no. He's being caught by the op again, but it... Okay. Well, that flash, that peek, that adaptation on the fly. I love it. The repositioning comes in once more, but this time, Crazy Raccoons win both fights. 2 swift Vandal headshots, and the lead is suddenly theirs. The spike is planted, and X10 are locked out. They have no flank. They have nothing to really play with a Cosmic Divide just to lock them out even further. And at this stage, I mean, normally we'd say a save, but with how things have been going, you can tell they're just going to send it, go for it, and it is getting torn apart. A great round for Crazy Raccoons. If for nothing else, at least the morale will be a little bit better.
Yeah, I was very, very scared that that round was just going to be Fox's styling on them, because the first opportunities he was getting, like, they just didn't seem to have a counter for the peaks he wanted to make. I think at this stage, though, like, I've seen a fair few Cosmic Divides, which I've hated. That there's been some where teams have ended up screwing themselves. But in this case, unless there was, like, a hot flank coming in as well, I just don't see any way that they were going to get back into things. Of course, as you sort of mentioned, they have quite a lot of cash. I think that's the first round they've actually lost in this half. So I think they'll be all right to rebuy here.
The spam? Oh, no. In fact, that was an orb taken back. So Fox had an opportunity, and here's what I'm talking about with still controlling your A-long area, but having a Jet do it. When you're up against an Astra, it's essential, because once that gravity well comes in, you are trapped. They will run you down. But the reason that Crazy Raccoons don't do that is because they see, oh, well, it's a Jet. So she's going to just dash out of there. But the pressure applied gives a long control to the attackers. Now they have much more to play with. That Cloudburst should bait someone into peeking the majority of the time, or at least into using some info gathering utility. And I think we just saw a flash popped out to ensure there's no one there. Now, though, they still have 3 players on A. This is a very slow rotate by X10. Great information play in the early stages, a map seizure from Crazy Raccoons. The only problem is Patapan's now pushing up behind. He has an early flank. Fox doesn't have his dash, so I'm surprised he went for that peek. That was incredibly aggressive. And Patapan's pulling back. He's not committing to the full flank.
Medusa at least. That should be information that there's 2 players here. It doesn't matter, though. Zephyr goes for the aggressive take, gets nothing for it, and now they're just being traded out one by one. They're going to try and put down that lockdown to force them back, and then he's actually putting in a real shift here. Another kill comes up for him. Patipan on the flank, though, is more than perfect. It's left all onto the Killjoy to try and clutch them out. We've mentioned him in multiple 1v4s. He needs the 4K here to keep them in this map. Padipan rounding the corner, the time ticking away, the snake bite held back Neff, at least for the moment. He's just playing with the time, doing so well to deny any chance for Padipan, and will even close it with the headshot as well. A fantastic clutch to keep them in the map, but there is still a long way to go.
Yeah, really good work. Patapan's flank was disgusting because you saw him go for it. He started to push forward, then he pulled back. And I'm like, okay, they're just going to go for a B retake together. But the site was already being pressured. He realizes, hey, my rotate's going to take way too long. I have to commit to the flank. But amongst all what I presume was confusion of whether he should go back like he's yo-yoing, he ends up getting the god tier timing because his opponents are thinking, okay, no way they're coming for a flank this late. Why would they? And then he just gets shot in the back. If they lost that round because of it, it would have been infuriating because it's less of a good play by Patapan or more just unreadable chaos that works out. But it didn't work out, at least not fully, with that huge glitch by Wow. Well, you really hate to see that. I suppose not if you're Crazy Raccoons, not if you're a Japanese fan. 5 rounds in between them. Man advantage goes to the attackers, and that flash is so good to convert right after.
Ooh. All right, a little bit of a dirty sheriff shot coming out. Actually, some aggression coming in from behind. They do have to be careful here. Padipan managed a pretty disgusting flank in the last round. I think he's going to have heard all the footsteps of Medusa as well. The alarm bot not going to be doing anything here. Net has already fallen. but they are going to be watching for him. There's no way Padapan gets anything, or there shouldn't be. There are 2 players watching this angle. Somehow he manages to swing both and not take any damage or much damage at all, but they're just going to try and hold him out. And maybe for him, it might just be an idea to try and get rid of some of their weaponry.
He's done that well. I don't know how he got away with that much. The damage he did tickling them up, surviving out there, and then even grabbing a kill. Disgusting work. But nonetheless, it will be around for Crazy Raccoons, and we talked about X10's economy, and it was looking very, very good in the previous half. But this time around, not so much. Obviously, they've got this Phantom saved over. They'll be able to invest around it if they want to, and I think, you know, that round is one that you don't necessarily expect for X10 to win. But the manner in which they lost some of these opening duels, like these 2 in particular, were devastating, really, because they had the right idea. The garage control was being pressured forward. They wanted to pincer off those close-range duels and make use of their weaker weapons, and instead they just got shredded. But they still have a 4-round lead. Crazy Raccoons have the pressure applied to them. They can't make a single mistake from this point forward.
Yeah, it would need to be 7 rounds in a row total. Zephyr is just going to have to hold on to the corner for a second, but there's no capitalization off of that. The taps through smoke from Crows, not really going to find anything, and they're just picking up the pace. This looks like a fast take into A, Mitch.
It does indeed. Munchkin's already sending it in, getting the information, but Padapan keeps on going straight through his own orb to look for those duels. He goes back and catches them by surprise. And classic out for 3. He's on the backside and eventually taken down. But it's a 2v2 now. This is a winnable situation. The armor stripped from Munchkin after his ultimate was just completely thrown away. Grabbed information that nothing was capitalized on, and the ultimates, oh, they are here to play with. We've also got a Cosmic Divide that can be used to block out long and potentially get them at least a start on the defuse and force out some early plays. But that is such a good peek by Munchkin. He's going to be in trouble. Detained on the backside, and that is a free kill. But left down to the 1v1, considering the situation, that is very strong. Scary taps it. Player comes out, and the shot connects for Rion. The Battle of the Astras goes to Crazy Raccoons this time around, and they pull it to within 3. This gap closing in. X10, they might finally be feeling that pressure. They committed a lot. That was a great round for Padapan. They used a lot of really impactful ultimates as well to try and pull this round off. And yet, even despite everything that happened in the early stages, they lose the round.
This is one of those rounds as well. I think if it works for myself as well, but if Paper Thin had any head to lose, he would probably be losing it here, because that was so stressful from Crazy Raccoon. Like, just the fact that it comes down to one player aggressively peeking in towards the spawn and getting detained and dying, and then the other just running through the Cosmic Divide. Obviously, when you're behind that, all the sound is muffled. You don't know if necessarily if he's tapped, if he's stuck it halfway. So you're just taking a massive risk just to go through it and hope that he's not holding the angle. It does pay off, but yeah, definitely uncomfortable for them. But it's gonna... Oh no. I just looked at the buy. Why, like, after saying I hate this gun, why has this happened? Why are we... If I just want to say, if they close it on this, I might just have to walk off. Like, this might be the moment where I'm just peacing out.
The worst part about this, Tom, is that this This is not a full buy. You look at what they have. They have got really strong weapons. The ability to take a lot of duels.
Padapan gets 3.
And it's on defense as well. Like, on the attack, this would be ludicrous. But on the defensive side, they choose the range at which they take fights. They have the potential to actually pull off a round for free. You know, what would a lot of the time just be an eco. And the important thing here as well is that they've got their utility to play off of as well. If things start to go their way, in fact, I see Padapan is even thinking about immediately dropping that Viper's Pit. Not a bad idea, especially on a round like this. You force any sort of beat control, like you split the map in 2 straight away, because let's put it this way, they're not going to go through that. And if they do, you're going to kill them. What is this guy made of? He just... Again through smokes, man.
I can't believe that. He's just pre-fired the orb.
Yeah, but look, Rion's 58 HP as well. He shredded them. Oh, man.
Oh, no. You've also just got this from Padipam, which yeah, I'm glad this is being highlighted by the observers. Like, what is this? He's halfway down mid, just sat within the Viper's pit. They're gonna try and pressure in. Scary, like, I would expect him to at least get one here. This angle's so hard to clear, especially against the judge. The dash up, though, actually works, but they haven't cleared him. He's still in this corner. They haven't seen him at all, and it's just gonna be Scary doubling up. It comes down to one man, Medusa, to save them. I said this will be the round that probably ends it. I hate the judge, but somehow